Hello and welcome to another episode of the Monday Night Wars. It is December 23rd. It's almost Christmas, and we are live with WCW Nitro in Macon, Georgia at the Macon Civic Center. Macon. I think it's Macon, right? But I don't really ever say it right. So if you're from Georgia, let me know if I'm saying it right, because I want to be correct in my southern pronunciations. I'm Scott, and with me, as always, is Joseph. I was trying to think of like a Christmas reference. Joseph Jolly Rojas. There we go.
You should have been Jolly Joseph Rojas. That would have rolled a little better.
JJ Rojas.
Oh man, what's going on, dude? Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to Claire. Merry Christmas to everybody listening. Speaking of Christmas, this is important, specifically for our Patreon subscribers. Anybody who responds to the email, which one of you didn't, so I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Ooh,
yeah.
Gotta be listening.
Yep. Anybody who responded to the email, all of your little Christmas goodies are sent out. So they should be arriving within, actually probably by this time of recording, they'll have arrived. So they should be there, except most likely for Ronnie.
Yes.
Because obviously,
even to Germany?
That might not make it before Christmas. If it does, it'll be a Christmas miracle. However, I had to look up where Ronnie lives because obviously foreign addresses are not the same as foreign to us as to American addresses. So they don't flow the same way. So Ronnie sent me his address.
Foreign, that's just my address. That's what Ronnie's saying here.
Yeah. So he sent me his address.
You got to look at it to see how the post office wants you to label it and kind of all that sort of stuff, you know?
Right. And there's customs and things that you got to do. So it's like a whole thing, right? So I was doing that. Ronnie sent it, and I'm not going to tell you exactly where he lives, but he sent it, and he lives in, I believe the city is, and I'm going to butcher this, Ronnie, so I apologize, but it's Schönungen in Bavaria, Germany. Bavaria is the state.
Bavaria.
Yeah. Bro, if you look this place up, it is the most like adorable, absolutely cozy looking village in the history of ever. So I looked this up to make sure I got it right, but I started seeing the photos of like where this dude lives, and I was like, fuck, Ronnie, they selling any houses near you? Like, this place looks so nice.
Well, no, I gotta look this up too here. We gotta look at this here, you know. But Bavaria, it's a pretty place. So yeah. I've never been, but the internet
looks like it looks like the winters are nice and snowy cold, and the summers are just like they're just nice warm, not gonna fucking murder you warm. That's my kind of place.
So what you're saying is we're moving to Bavaria and
100%.
adding a third person to the pod. All right.
100%.
Okay.
Oh man. Anyway, So Ronnie, I hope yours gets there for Christmas. Also, Ronnie is sending us something, and he wants us to open it on the podcast. The problem with that, Ronnie, is that me and Scott are in two different states.
Well, so you can open it?
Yeah, so I was going to say is I'll open it. I'll be on camera so Scott can see the things, and then he'll be able to react with me. But so just so you know, we won't be together unless there's another Christmas miracle.
Whoa. Well, then I got to know, Ronnie, do you roll your R's? Because I took German, and I was told that Southern Germans roll their R's. So now I'm interested. Let us know.
The people want to know.
I took some German. I'm not very good at it, but I took some German. Anyways, we should probably talk about, wrestling, because that's what we're here to do. I don't know if you knew that, but let's get into it, because the first match we got is the WCW US title tournament quarterfinals. Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero, 10 minutes, 34 seconds. I got to say, I was kind of surprised by the outcome of this match. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Taskmaster has a picture-in-picture and asks if Benoit is an assassin or an errand boy. He says Benoit thought he beat him in chess, but Benoit took his queen and fell into the ultimate trap. He says he's quoting Genghis Khan after he cut off the head of his brother. You have awoken something that should have been left alone. I looked this up. Genghis Khan never said that. I don't know. I don't know where he got that from, but okay. Did kill his brother, but because his brother was stealing. So there you go.
Well, I mean, someone else is stealing, so.
Oh man, Sullivan says checkmate at the end of this. This promo is actually horrible, and I know Sullivan's lifelong gimmick is that he's this dark, mysterious character, but honestly, it sucks. It's a bad character, and I will shout that from the mountaintops. Like Tony Khan when he cut off Penta's ability to tag team with his brother. Anyone got a bump?
My God, you are
Allegedly.
gonna on Christmas. You're gonna get us sued. Allegedly, my friend. Allegedly, all of
Chris-
that.
Christmas ain't the only thing that's snowing around there, if you know
Oh
what
my
I mean.
God. Tony will do it too. He's the kind of guy that would sue some little fledgling podcast. So my God, allegedly, Tony, allegedly. Appreciate what you tried to do for wrestling, but it didn't work. Stop.
Yeah. Well, it's not really stop. It's just grow up. That's really what it is. Grow up. All right, back to the match though. Oh, my dog is losing her shit, which means somebody's outside. DDP comes to commentary because he is involved in this tournament, so it does make sense. DDP calls the Guerreros Chavo, Mondo, Zeppo, and Harpo, and I love me a Marx Brothers reference. Also, this match is fire because, of course, it is with these two guys. Of course, they're going to have a banger match. DDP actually does add excellent wrestling commentary during this match. I'm pretty sure his way into the business was to try to be a commentator because I think he worked with Dusty Rhodes or something. That was kind of how he started. So it makes a little bit of sense. He's seemingly a natural at this. Guerrero gets a surprise win, and I think you kind of alluded to this, with a frog splash. But I really do like this call for this booking. You might think if you're watching these episodes, obviously it should be Chris Benoit who goes over because he has the momentum. But honestly, Eddie and DDP were very recently feuding, so the match makes a lot more sense for them to face each other in the finals or against each other in the next match, whenever that is. Also, Benoit and Sullivan are feuding, and their feud really does have a lot of already ramifications. You don't really need to add the title to it. So I kind of like this call from everybody. I think it made a lot of sense. Even though I didn't like Taskmaster's promo, the booking was really solid in this, in my opinion. So I gave this an A+.
Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. Come on. Great. As you said, I was surprised because I assumed Chris Benoit was going to win this one, and they swerved me and Eddie won it. So I like that. I like when the matches keep me guessing. This one kept me guessing. Good match. Also, they were really chopping each other. They were some nasty slaps.
Anytime you have two best friends in the ring, they are going to go hard at each other.
And yeah, there were some nasty slaps. It was good. After that, we got Mean Gene. And he brings out the Horseman. And Arn says, I took that beating from Kevin Sullivan for you, Benoit, because that's what horsemen do. But then he says, but you lost tonight, and you lost because your head ain't in the game. Because you're all wrapped up in this lady. And where is she? She's not even here. And then Deborah starts going, and I quickly lost interest. But Ric Flair gave us the Christmas time. Gave us some Christmas times greetings and promised to party all night long. So that was good, at least. He kind of saved it at the end, but Deborah in the middle was rough, bro.
Yeah, it's a thing where Arn is always like spot on these because he says a focused Benoit would never have lost, like you mentioned. He says, you ask any man what his worst nightmare is. I mean, he gets into depth here. You ask any man what his worst nightmare is, he'll tell you it's coming home from a hard day's work, opening his front door and walking in and seeing some other man sitting on his couch with his woman, which is like, yeah, that sucks. But there's one that goes worse than that. That's being that man on the couch when the door gets kicked open and seeing the rage in the man's eyes because no matter what the man does to you, no matter how severe, you deserve it. He says last week he saw that rage from Sullivan. He says every time Sullivan pumped those fists in his face, he knew somebody deserved it. And Chris Benoit, that somebody is you. God damn. Like that is like just stone cold Arn, dude. I mean,
just telling like God. It is.
He's
Arn just telling it like it is.
He's so good at these kinds of promos. He says that he took that beating because we're horsemen, but he doesn't understand why a woman wasn't there last week to witness the beating and why she isn't here this week. Like you said, Deborah interrupts and says that she is the beautiful one and that next time Benoit wants to have an affair, which is just wild to say. Next time he wants to have an affair, he should let her know because she has plenty of better friends who would love to go out with him. And like that, Deborah was this close to being an accessory. Benoit interrupts after Deborah.
It would have been hilarious if she said, next time you think about having an affair, give me a call. And Mongo's just like, what? That'd have been a good line.
Oh, man. So Benoit interrupts Deborah and after he interrupts her after Deborah calls woman damaged goods, which has to 1,000% be a reference to Sullivan beating her, right? Like it has to be. Like, why would you say that line other than that reason?
It seems like, because Ric Flair says something too about the woman left the devil after 10 years. Or weekend with Benoit. And I'm like, does everybody know?
Yeah, it has to be like a not so secret. Oh my God, it's wild. Anyways, so Benoit says woman is tending to horseman business. He says he doesn't appreciate, and this just made me laugh, he doesn't appreciate the unjust allegations of infidelity. Dude, the only way that could be more justified is if you were banging her in the videos you guys kept sending and shouting the N-word. Anyways, he says,
what?
I'm throwing strays everywhere.
Oh my God. Hulk Hogan sued Gawker out of business. Today you've gone after Tony Khan, who is petty as hell and would sue us, and Hulk Hogan, who has sued media and destroyed them. What are you doing on Christmas? That's a Hulk Hogan reference for those of you who don't get it. That's what he was alluding to. There's a video of Hulk Hogan having relations with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. And it's in that video that he says the N-word, I believe. So yeah, it's on video. It's not allegedly, but also
no, it happened. Well, he can't sue us because we're just stating facts. He could sue Gawker because that video should never have been released.
So there you go.
There's the delineation between those two things. Oh man, where was I? Oh God, I love this. He says that they spent hours devising a plan in Germany to bring the horsemen to Ronnie. Were you helping them figure out a plan? He says they were spent hours in Germany devising a plan to bring the horsemen together to their former glory. The plan is actually quite simple, to be honest. Boot Mongo and Deborah and add Jeff Jarrett. Then you'd be fixed. Anyways, he addresses Deborah and Mongo. Mongo loses it, saying he'll fight Benoit, and finally Flair steps in. Now, I will say real quickly for Mongo, I do like this. I think that makes sense. Like, that's his wife. You got it, right? You can't just sit there and not do anything. So I thought that was fine for Mongo, even though I don't like Mongo and Deborah and their whole thing. I think they honestly probably could have worked outside of the Horsemen. Like, I think if Deborah did her whole shtick not part of the Horsemen, I think I would enjoy it a lot more because it's annoying intentionally. So it could have worked. That's a whole digression. Anyways, so finally Flair steps in. He says it's 2 days before the Yuletide, and he comes into town to reunite and to party all night long. He says that after living with Sullivan for 10 years, woman deserved a weekend with Benoit. My God, that's the line you alluded to earlier. That is insanity. Then he says the Horsemen are fine, and I guess that's it. This is a weird one because there's just as much really good as there is really bad. So I'm giving this a C straight down the middle. But it's like there are a lot of really good moments in this. There's also a lot of like eye rolling, come on, what are we doing moments.
I was just expecting Benoit to say that, they fell in love in a majestic little town in Bavaria somewhere. And we'd go, oh my God. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Ronnie officiated the wedding. Actually, I don't want to connect Ronnie to that.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry, Ronnie. No.
We're retconning that. It never happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to the good stuff because we got Hulk Hogan with the NWO, and they're coming out to the ring to again make fun of Roddy Piper. It's the same thing as last week. Yeah, I mean, you got anything more to add? But I mean, that's it. He's scared. He's a coward. He wears skirts. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, the one weird thing that it kind of made me laugh was he compared himself to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. It's like, okay, maybe George Washington. I don't know if George Washington has had slaves. Abraham Lincoln, get out of here. Anyway,
George Washington did have slaves.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, I knew you'd know that. Yeah, he calls out Flair and Macho as well, and then calls them and Piper cowards. It gets a C. It's fine, but like you said, it's the exact same thing. Hogan rivalries sometimes do this, where like there's no possible build of momentum because they don't, like, Hogan never wants to look weak, so he doesn't allow for a swell of the other side really kind of winning over. Like Piper's kind of lost just about everything, and anything he's won, Hogan has not been around for. And so that it really kind of hurts the rivalry. Like, this rivalry should be fire, and it's not, because yeah, Piper's doing great work, but Hogan hasn't taken a single L. He's not gonna, spoiler. And so it just is like, like, it just, after a while, you kind of like lose interest in it. And you go, all right, whatever.
And I will say, mild credit to George Washington, though, because I mean, in slaves, you don't get tons of credit. I believe
mild credit.
Well, I do believe he freed them in his will and left them some money. So, I mean, at least there's that. I believe that happened, that he freed them in his will and left them some money to get an education. But I can't remember.
That's hilarious.
I'm looking, yes,
not that he has it. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's better than generational slavery, I guess, So good guy George at the end there. Should have done it sooner. But should have happened sooner. Anyways, let's get back to the fun stuff. Let's get back to the happy talk. WCW Saturday Night. Oh, this isn't happy talk, because now I'm going to look at how much better WCW Saturday Night is versus Raw tonight. So 6:05 TBS. Let's see what we got here. Actually, this is just more. It just looks like it's more Piper Hogan stuff, which obviously we need that for the purposes of the pay-per-view, but Hogan just doing the same thing over and over again. So after that, though, we get a trailer for Roddy Piper's new film, The Marked Man. Joseph, did you see this? Do you have thoughts on this, or should we move on?
I did not watch this movie, no.
But did you watch the trailer?
No, the only trailer I really had to watch this week was Superman trailer, which was amazing.
And you cried?
I did. Shed a tear.
Well, let me tell you, I'm looking it up right now. I'm doing the Rotten Tomatoes here. Let's see how it did. Let's see. Marked Man, 1996, not 2020. Come on, people. 1996, unless he was in the remake. Okay. I think I found it here. Oh, that is Roddy Piper. It does not have a tomato meter, so no one reviewed it, but it has a 43% popcorn score.
Which is not very good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
The IMDb's got it at 5.2 out of 10. The cover of the poster is outrageous, because it's a guy running from the cops. I guess the movie's about a escaped prisoner, wrongfully accused, whatever. But the poster, or the VHS box art or whatever, is a guy running from he's like in his prison blues, and he's running from a police car, and it's just very clearly not Roddy Piper's body. And they just put his head on this guy's head, and it just looks weird. It's fantastic. I like it because it's just bad. So there we go. After that, though, we've got Lex Luger versus Tombstone.
Yup.
Who, better known as 911. Do we know him as that?
I don't know. I wonder who's going to win this.
Yeah. His real name is Alfred Al Poling, better known as 911, but also went by Al the Sledgehammer, Big Al, and Tombstone. Dude is 6'8", though. That's impressive. So tell me how he just cleans up, wipes the floor with Flexi Lexi. Joseph, tell me about this. 3 minutes, 38 seconds.
Luger locks in the torture rack and gets the win. Then the Giant charges him. Luger beats the Giant and hits the rack before the NWO save him. We gave it a C for the NWO and Lex Luger stuff, but the match is really kind of whatever. It's a jobber match.
Well, all right then. Flashback to last week, where Real Sting beats up NWO Sting, and the Steiner brothers are still very confused by everything going on. It's a flashback, Joseph. I assume you don't have anything to say, but do you have anything to say?
I do not have anything to say.
Because you want to get to the next match. You want to get to the hotness.
Absolutely.
That is Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Mr. JL 602.
Is that the time? 6:02, the time of the match?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You just said
what else would it
6:02.
be?
You just said 6:02 out of nowhere. I was like, all right. Anyways, Mysterio wins the match. And we
You gotta
knew
keep
he
up,
would.
bro. You gotta keep up with me, bro.
I do. Mysterio wins the match. We knew that he would. However, it was a very fun bout between the two of them. And these two men honestly have great chemistry. They always have. Like every time we've watched them, they put on a good show. Obviously, we know JL is Jerry Lynn, and it's just kind of wild how undervalued he is on this roster. Mysterio pleads with Mean Gene after this match, however, saying he knows that Sting did not, in fact, join the NWO. And in fact, he only threw him off of him last week because that's what any man would do if someone jumped on their back, which is what Rey Mysterio did do. But that when Sting realized who he was, he left him alone. Pretty interesting wrinkle, I think, from Rey Mysterio. Obviously, it's quite a babyface promo. Rey Mysterio really hasn't come into his own in promos, but I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the, hey, no, he's really not a bad guy, and I know, even if you guys don't know. And I thought that was a cool thing from Rey, so I gave it a B.
Say it ain't so, Mr. Sting. Say it ain't so. That's kind of what it was, though, right? It's just like it's kind of a kid going, you know, he's speaking for the kids out there saying Sting's not a bad guy. He's not bad. He was just defending himself. You know, like you would do watching in 1996. You go, no, Sting was just defending himself. He's still good. He's still good. But I want to go back to the match here for a second because just call Mr. JL Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
That's his name. It's a good wrestling name. Just call him Jerry Lynn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just call him Jerry Lynn, take off the mask, maybe take off like the top part of his outfit so it's just like tights and we'd be fine.
Just let him be bare-chested and masculine. Ooh!
I think that's his normal look outside of this. Yeah. So
yeah,
just let him do it.
Let's just do it to our number 2. Man, I'm just the king of segues there. That was terrible. Anyways, Tony Schiavone, we got Bobby Heenan, we got Mike Tenay. We flash back to earlier in the show where Hulk Hogan talked crap about Piper because we need to see it again after we already saw it last week. I don't know. Hulk Hogan's probably like, you got to replay that, brother. He's just standing over the shoulders of the guys in the production booth going, put the tape back in, brother. Just there you go. There you go. Anyways, I assume you have nothing to say about the flashback of something we've already talked about, but I'm going to offer you the opportunity if you would.
You are correct, sir.
All right, then let's move on to my boy Glacier versus Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Why did the Sergeant feels so unnecessary? This is such a long Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Crazy. I guess he also went by Sarge. His real name is Dwayne Bruce. He went by Sarge. He went by the Leprechaun. He went by Jackboot. He went by Dwayne Bruce. And he went by Braun the Leprechaun. I have no idea who this is.
Yeah, you do. This is the Leprechaun that was part of Dungeon of Doom. I did not realize that was the same person. This is fucking wild.
Now that I've told you that, it changes everything, huh?
This is so ridiculous. Oh my God. Look, Glacier wins. It gets an F. It's not good.
There you go. Let's see. And the match was 2 minutes and 29 seconds. So a squash match. He gets the Glacier kick. I think they call it the cryo kick or something. He gets cryo kicked. And that's the end. And everyone's just like, wow, Glacier's so amazing. No, you guys botched that completely. Glacier is not amazing. Like I said, I remember loving him as a kid. I'm watching these matches going, what is this? What is this?
Oh man.
I gotta say though, WCW, I feel like not the greatest tonight. It's just a lot of jobber matches. So WWF has a real chance here, I think.
No, they don't.
Yeah, that's right. We shouldn't even bother pretending to keep people listening. It's not good. The Amazing French Canadians versus Public Enemy. Does someone get put through a table, Joseph? Tell me.
This is a boring match that gets thrown out as the Canadians win via DQ. Yeah, you'll never believe it. Tables get involved in shit. Oh, I gave it a D.
Well, all right. That was easy.
I got no time for this shit, man.
That was 3 minutes and 23 seconds. It's another formulaic public enemy match, right? Win or lose, a table is happening, and the tables don't break in WCW, so we got to try it a couple of times, and that's about it. Then again, we have another flashback. This time, Big Bubba turned on the Dungeon of Doom, and now he's in the New World Order. Joseph and I don't like it. We get it. We get it because it makes sense that he's an ex-WWF guy, and you and I have said it should just be a stable of ex-WWF guys.
Right.
But then they do that. Then Eric listens. Eric listens to us. He goes, I'm going to do what they say. And then we say we don't like it.
That's called being a wrestling fan.
There you go. I hate it. Worst idea ever. It just, they're not high. I feel like they're not high caliber enough, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think it's to the point where it's like, you don't need more, right?
Yeah.
You have enough. And so now when you have these guys, I do like Big Bubba, and honestly, of the kind of new wave of people who have joined, like when you think about like Vincent and Mike Wall Street and Big Bubba and Buff Bagwell, like the two that I kind of am more okay with are Buff Bagwell and Big Bubba, because Big Bubba kind of fits the dynamic a little bit better, but it's still not great. Buff Bagwell, I will say, is kind of the exception to the rule. Like, he does fit the NWO perfectly because of his attitude. So
just think, if they had kept Scott Norton with Ice Train and kept Fire and Ice, which they should have done because that was fire and ice. Yeah. But could you imagine if Buff Bagwell and Big Bubba were the tag team for NWO, and their tag team name was Big and Buff, right?
What could have been?
It sells itself. It sells itself. But speaking of Big Bubba, that leads to our next match, because we got Conan versus Big Bubba, and this is a 5-minute, 36-second match. Joseph, tell me.
There's honestly a solid rivalry here with the former stablemates. It does make sense. At one point, all of commentary is like, we're fully WCW, and Heenan is kind of non-committal about it. And Shivani says something about how he always knew Heenan could be bought. And then Heenan immediately replies, you wouldn't join the NWO for $50 million? And Shivani hesitates. So Heenan says, so we established you can be bought. We just need to haggle on a price. God bless this man. I love Bobby Heenan. It's also good.
It's also weird that Bobby just threw out a number like he knew. Yeah. Like that's the going rate, 50 million, you know?
And I love that it completely cratered all of Shivani's morality in one little just line. It was so good. Anyways, Jimmy Hart gets thrown out by Nick Patrick for allegedly touching him. This is more of the Nick Patrick is, the NWO referee, even though he's not officially, but he isn't. Conan throws Bubba over the top rope, and Nick Patrick DQs him because there's that stupid rule. I will say it does work for this, because the whole Nick Patrick being NWO thing, and we all know it's stupid, but it gets NWO an easy win, so he's going to do it. So I did like that, unfortunately. Conan grabs Nick Patrick, but Bubba pulls him out of the ring, and pulls Nick Patrick out of the ring, mind you, and they kind of run away together. This was fun, and also Nick Patrick's wearing earrings, which made me laugh. I gave this whole thing a B.
Nick Patrick is kind of an unsung hero.
Yes.
Of WCW, because he sells it, man. He's so good at doing this. I like the Nick Patrick angle. It's fun because he does such a good job with it. And yeah, the over the top rope rule, it's not a rule until they want it to be, and Nick Patrick wanted it to be a rule. So it's a rule today. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
After that, though, we have the most important event of the night.
We do.
This is what wins it for WCW every single week. This is it. The matches could be bad, and as long as I got on the road with Lee Marshall, I'm okay. He's in Knoxville, Tennessee. There's a wild Nitro party going on, and Starrcade is sold out. Sold out, but don't worry. There's still some tickets for the Knoxville show if you sign up, if you go get them. And then we got one of them weasel jokes, but then Bobby comes back with a fucking haymaker. Joseph, tell me about it.
I don't have Bobby's haymaker, but he points out that they're not that far from Dollywood. That's kind of the reason that he sets up his joke. And he says there's actually a vacant lot down the road that would be a perfect location for Bobby's new Weasel World theme park. I loved it. They got an A+ from me.
I'm sad you didn't write down the joke because I didn't write it down either, assuming you would. All I wrote is Bobby shooting. That's all I wrote.
Well, Bobby's finally starting to kind of pepper shots back, so I'll try to document those from now on. He hasn't before. He's been just taking it on the chin, and now he's like, all right, if this is gonna happen every week, I might as well say something in reply. So I do like that.
He has a legacy to consider.
Yeah.
He's got to defend himself from all these weasel accusations. But love Lee Marshall. It's always a party when Lee Marshall gets there. I assume he just he rolls into town and then people just kind of spontaneously just erupt into parties. Like if we went to a Nitro party, we just walk up to people and they just be dancing, like just have these weird smiles on their faces. Like, I can't stop dancing.
It's just slightly a horror film. Yeah. Oh my God.
Bones coming out of their legs because their legs are broken, but they're still going.
That's so absurd. Oh my God. He just leaves. He just takes a giant drag of a cigarette and leaves, and everybody's just dead from exhaustion.
They just drop. It's just.
Oh my God. Pretty sure that's an X-Files episode, man.
Probably is. He's like, all right, I got to go make a collect call. And then everyone drops.
Oh my God. That's the dumbest thing ever. I love it.
Lovely, Marshall. Love it. Anyways, let's talk about another important milestone. This has happened a couple of times now, and I'm shocked. We've got the World Television Championship on the line on WCW's premier television program. It's amazing. We're doing this. I think they finally figured it out. Like this is the show that people are watching. We should put the television title on it. We got Lord Steven Regal versus Dean Malenko in a 10-minute match. And the 10 minutes is important to this match. And I'm just going to mention on a complete side note that the first match of the night was 10 minutes and 34 seconds. So tell me about this one, Joseph.
Oh man. Okay, so real quick, Sonny Ono does come out for kind of mind games and eventually gets thrown out by referee Mark Curtis. The mind games are really with Dean Malenko, I believe, because Sonny Ono, I don't remember who's feuding with Dean Malenko. Is it Ultimo Dragon? Is that what's going on? I don't remember. Anyways, he comes out and he gets thrown out. So that happens. Now, as far as the match goes, this is my complete review on it. Just watch it. That's the review. It's a fantastic match between two of the greatest in-ring technicians and in-ring storytellers of all time. This match ends in a timeout draw, and it was fantastic the whole way through. There's really no storyline between them, so I'm giving it a B+, but it is a phenomenal match between these two men.
So it was a time limit? There's a time limit?
Yeah.
Of 10 minutes?
Absolutely there is.
But the previous match went 10 minutes and 34 seconds.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's fake news.
Okay, all right, all right, I'm just noticing things. I'm just noticing things. Anyways, we got our main event. We got our main event, Joseph. We got Rick Steiner versus Double J, Jeff Jarrett. And I don't really know why this is the main event. I kind of feel like the previous match should have been the main event, but we got it. This match is just here to get over quick so we can have some more Hulk Hogan in-ring commentary. But let's talk about the match first. Rick Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, 2 minutes, 24 seconds. What is going on here?
This is a weird, I do enjoy it, but it's very weird. During a fun contest, and they are having a fun match, fake Sting comes out and gets completely clobbered by Jeff Jarrett. And instantly, Jeff Jarrett and Rick Steiner just stop fighting each other. And because both of them kind of have a beef with Sting. And so they don't know that this is fake Sting. And they beat the shit out of him. And then instead, Jeff Jarrett just pins him and he gets the win, which is very confusing, but okay. And real Sting never shows up, which I thought was interesting. But commentary is not even fooled for a second. They're like, we know this is fake Sting. We know that's not real Sting because real Sting wouldn't have gone down that quick. I gave it a B. It's a little confusing, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I kind of didn't like that the commentary let us in that it was fake Sting, because I enjoyed the fake Sting angle, but I just don't feel like they do a great job with it. I like the idea, but they just don't really do a great job with it. So I like that fake Sting is coming in and causing havoc and trying to make people question whether or not it's real Sting or fake Sting, and who is Sting with. But then they immediately go, nah, it's fake Sting, right? So it just don't do it for me. Just don't do it for me. But what does do it for me is Hulk Hogan comes back out to talk shit about Roddy Piper.
This does it for you? Okay.
It doesn't. Well, I mean, Eric Bischoff do come out dressed,
that's true.
dressed up. So tell me about this. Tell me about this.
Okay, I will say that I liked the beginning of this and then it fell off the rails. So here's what happened. So Hogan comes out and he's solo. It's just him by himself, no anybody else with him. He says everyone who believed in Piper, he dropped down on his knees and called Hogan the icon. Again, it's more Piper's a coward stuff. Piper has admitted Hogan's the icon and blah, blah, blah. Even though we all know that has never happened. Then Piper's music hits and commentary immediately blows this. This is way worse than the fake Sting thing. They say that this is fake. It's not him. He's not even here in town, blah, blah, blah. Should not have done that. It's just such a wrong move. And they should play it up like, Hogan, you have it coming now, only to have the disappointment of us finding out that it's not, in fact, Piper. It's Bischoff dressed as Piper, but also in a Hulkster t-shirt. That would have worked so much better because I liked the idea. The idea was really good. This will get repeated a number of times through wrestling history where it's like the person's music hits and it's really somebody else dressed as that person to fuck with the audience. I love that swerve. It's so good. And commentary fucked it up, which really pissed me off. Also, Bischoff comes down and starts talking, and he should have done a fake Scottish accent the whole time. It would have been so stupid, but so great because we all know that Roddy Piper does not have a Scottish accent, but it would have been hilarious. Anyways, Bischoff pretends to be Piper and talk about how he can't beat Hogan, but they'll have the match right now, and then he lays down for Hogan to get a 3 count. Then Piper's music hits again. A whole band comes out, and Piper walks out and goes to the ring just to get his ass beat by the NWO. Shivani calls it a 6 or 7 on 1 because, again, Shivani can't count somehow. Then we just fade out. What the fuck was the point of any of this? I liked how it started. I liked the idea, and then commentary shits all over it, and then it just fucking devolves from there. I gave this a D. I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this maybe should have been earlier in the night. I feel like this should have been earlier in the night, or at least they should have split it up into 2 parts, right? I liked the beginning part with Eric Bischoff, and he comes out, and they they pan him. He pretends to be Roddy Piper, and they pan him, and Nick Patrick comes out and all that. They'd done that earlier in the night, and then they come out to do it again, or they're going to make another joke. You think it's going to be Eric Bischoff again, and this time it's Roddy Piper, right?
Can I real quickly rebook this?
Rebook it right now. Well, I just rebooked it, and we love it, but you can rebook it again. Not as good. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, hear me out. So that you do this to open the show, okay? But no Roddy Piper comes out. You do this to open the show. Bischoff comes out just as Roddy Piper. At first, commentary loves it, only to find out it's not actually him. Blah blah blah, and they're disappointed. They come out. They do the whole thing, right? And they're laughing at the audience, and then that's it, right? The first segment is whatever. We're gonna look at this and go, that wasn't that great.
Literally
whatever.
what I just said.
Hold on, because there's a second segment that's gonna be great. Okay. At the end of the show, Hogan wants to play it back because he thought it was so funny. He wants to play it back, right? So he goes, and the music hits, and instead, you see Eric Bischoff dressed as Roddy Piper get thrown out from grill position, like thrown out into the ramp. And he's stunned, has no idea what's happening. Meanwhile, there's a cameraman backstage, and all of NWO is locked in their dressing room. So they can't come out and save Hogan. And then Piper walks down, runs down the ring, and starts beating on Hogan. Finally, NWO breaks out. They run out. And then Piper runs through the crowd, and the audience is around him celebrating with him. Show fades to black at that point. That's how they should have done it.
I love it. I can't lie. I love it. And Hogan could have made a comment of something like, maybe since you might have been stupidly watching that other show for the first hour. So if you missed it, here it is again, or something like that.
Yeah. You could have played into the fact that it's 2 hours. Like it would have had the entertainment value that Hogan's always doing. He would have taken the L, but we know Piper's not going to win. So at least you give him a little momentum. Like, this rivalry is so fucking stale. Give us some things that make Piper look like he really could do this.
We don't know Piper is not going to win the title. God, he should have won. They should have given it to him, even if it was like a one-day championship thing. I would have given it. He would have won. Yes. If I was booking, he would have won at Starrcade. We would have figured out a way to get it back to Hogan.
Yeah, I would have been completely fine with that. Give it to Piper real quick. Let him eat a day, a month. I don't care. And then Hogan gets it back, and then that's fine. But Piper needed one in his lifetime. Every time I create a universe mode, I give Piper at least one run. As
you have to. You have to. He deserved it.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But speaking of the other show that people were stupidly watching in the first hour, let's stupidly watch that other show. Because now we move to Raw, December 23rd, 1996, at the Ice Palace again in Tampa, Florida. I always find the fact that it's called the Ice Palace. I assume it's the hockey ring. I assume it's where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. But like an ice palace in Florida? It's hot. I don't know. It's wild to me. Anyways, let's get into it because we got Vince, Jerry, and the King on commentary. And our first match is the only good match of the night. Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Mark Marrow. Oh, goody. Tell me about the only good match of the night for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
There is a special stipulation to this. It has to do with their last confrontation where Mark Marrow won via countout, I believe, in that match. If Helmsley gets counted out or disqualified, he will lose the title this time. Every once in a while, they'll do this. I do like it, so it forces us to actually have a match. Whoever wins this match, however, will face Goldust, who comes through the crowd and takes a seat to watch the show. He's up in the crowd watching it, I think with Marlena. Marrow chases off Jerry the King, and Helmsley takes advantage of the distraction. It's a fun opener, and Marrow misses the Marrow Salt, and Hunter hits the pedigree for the win to retain the title. Marrow has to be detained after the match because he goes ballistic. And it's weird because he doesn't really make a heel turn here, but like it's all heel turn tactics, and he has to get removed. Hunter grabs a mic and calls out Goldust, saying at the Rumble, he will show Goldust what it's like to be a real man. Okay, fair enough, whatever. He then tells Marlena that she will find out what it's like to be with a real man. And then Goldust runs down incensed, and he charges at Helmsley, who, of course, Helmsley runs off because that's heel tactics. This whole segment's really fun, and I gave it a B. Boy, the rest of the show is going to be just as good, right, Scott?
Well, let's talk about it. First of all, Billy Gunn is paralyzed. Apparently, Bart paralyzed Billy. He suffered a temporary paralysis.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. But hey, here's sexy Sonny. Here's Sonny in a sexy Santa outfit. Immediately, like that. This was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. They have this really solemn segment about how Billy's really hurt, and Bart, his brother, did it to him, and Bart's real upset about it. This is serious. He temporarily paralyzed Billy. Like they got to put this shit aside and be brothers again. Oh, and here's Sonny, and she's in a sexy Santa outfit. What whiplash, Joseph?
Yeah.
I mean, this is WWF right now, textbook. Just the whiplash of what?
Yep.
What did you make of this whole thing?
It was bad. I didn't enjoy it.
I'm surprised. I'm shocked to hear that you did not enjoy this stupid segment. After that, I mean, we're just going to run through this shit because that's all we can do. Is Rocky Maivia. We like Rocky. I mean, you don't like Rocky, but I like Rocky.
I don't like. I was gonna try to say something nice. I do not like Rocky. Once he joins Nation, I like him. But
I wanted to let you have that caveat. That you like The Rock. You are not in no way saying you don't like Dwayne Johnson as a wrestler. You just don't like this babyface gimmick that he's doing.
Correct.
We got Rocky Maivia, though, who I do like. I think it's fun. I agree. I'd work on the gimmick. I know you don't like his outfit either. You don't like his gear. I kind of like the gear.
I don't like his gear. I don't like his finisher. I don't like his gimmick. I don't like any of it.
It needs work, but I like him. But what I don't like is that he's going against Salvatore Sinceri. Who the shit cares? Tell me about this one.
Oh man, we hated this match when we had it a few weeks ago, and we hate it now. Also, the fuck is Jim Cornette managing Sinceri for? It makes no sense. Sonny says that Sinceri has to be cheating in this match when he starts winning the match, but she doesn't cheat, and that joke writes itself. I'm gonna leave it alone. Rocky wins with the shoulder breaker, and this gets a D.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. After that, though, we got Sid, and he's got some words for Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean's in the back. And the words that he should have given Sean is sober up, buddy, because Sean do not look good. What'd you think about this, Joseph? In my notes, I went, geez, Sean.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, is this the one where, yeah, okay. So I do actually like where this goes with Sean. Okay, but this part sucks. So yeah, Vince is interviewing Sid. This does nothing for Sid at all. And Sid's music is playing on full blast the whole time, so you can barely hear him. And let me explain how barely you can hear him. I watch these with subtitles just in case if I need to take, notes on what they're actually saying. The actual closed captions for this just say in brackets, indistinct multiple times. I have no fucking clue what Sid said. And also, like you said, HBK is watching, and I gave this an F.
Yeah, I think are we getting into the part where Sean just looks real haggard, though?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, he'll kind of pep up a little bit when Trips is around, because one of the whole things was that like Trips is the one who was kind of keeping them together when they were doing DX. And so you'll see him a little bit more like fine for shows, because Trips is, I mean, people really don't talk about, like, dude really worked like overtime to make sure Sean was okay for shows until he literally couldn't. It's one of the reasons why when Sean blows up on him and essentially torches their entire friendship, like Sean had to eat crow and basically apologize to him to become friends with him again. Like, that's 100% on Sean. Like, Trips is working his ass off to make Sean look fine.
I would say even Sean wasted. You can obviously tell when he is, because we'll see that. But he's still better than half the guys on this show.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is just sad to say.
Yeah.
Speaking of terrible, we got our next match. I could just segue the entire episode with, here's some more terrible. Piroth and Cybernetico versus the New Rockers, which is Leaf Cassidy, Al Snow, and Marty Jannetty, and this is the tag team match.
Yep. I thought Marty Jannetty was actually out of the company by this point. I didn't realize he was still there, because we haven't seen him in a long time. The match itself isn't bad so much as it shouldn't be taking up TV time, if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of a dark match, or maybe like a Saturday night match, where it's like these aren't super important to your flagship show, so you're gonna have them there. The Luchadors win, it gets D+. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. And then after that, we get our main event.
No, we get an interview first.
Well, I mean, we get what, the honky tonk one, or am I missing something?
JR interviews Mil Mascaras.
Oh, I must have just saw this and said, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
So first off, music plays, because of course it does, and you can't hear Mascaras, because of course you can't, who also doesn't speak great English, and that is not great. Mil Mascaras is a true legend, by the way, in wrestling history, and obviously Lucha Libre history. Like, he is a true icon. This is not how you fucking use him. It was so bad. He just kind of said a bunch of things. Unless I'm mistaken, he does something hilarious at the Royal Rumble, but we'll get there when we get there. This is bad, and it gets an F.
So much of an F that I chose to completely memory hole it. I don't remember this at all. I didn't write it down. I don't remember it. I don't remember anything about it. I'll be real with you. I don't remember like 90% of this Raw. I'm just going by my notes. I told Joseph before we started that one of these days, because every time I go to Google the match card or whatever, like Google or Bing or whatever search engine I use, they all have AI now, and they all pop up and say, "Hey, would you like AI to tell you about this?" And I think one day I might just have. I'm not going to watch the episode of Raw, because that would be a real treat for me. And just have AI tell me, have AI tell me what happened and see how accurate it is. I think that would be interesting, but not tonight, because I watched it. I just forgot everything. After that, though, we have our main event, which is Bret Hart versus Fake Razor Ramon. What the hell? Fake Razor Ramon, your main event versus Bret Hart. You got the Honky Tonk Man on commentary. Why? I don't know. Is Honky Tonk Man scouting Fake Razor Ramon? God help us. Tell me about this travesty. Why are they doing the Bret? Bret's 1996 is bad.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Honky Tonk Man is scouting for a new honky, and I hate this. Bret gives Fake Razor his best ever match, but that means nothing. Hitman wins with the sharpshooter, as he should, because fucking obviously. And then we go to this real quick segment, like right after the match. So I'm just going to roll right into it, where Vin Man is talking to Sean, because Sean was watching that segment with Sid, and he's talking to him about Sid and Bret Hart and everything. And Sean has no time for him. And he's just like, yeah, what? What's your point? Make your point. Who cares? Like over and over, just doesn't give a shit. And I loved it. It was hilarious. It's exactly the Shawn Michaels I want, just pure attitude Shawn Michaels. I gave a D to the match, but I'm giving an A+ to HBK, which in no way is going to help this episode of Raw. But HBK killed it here.
The only reason that match gets even a D is because Bret Hart was in it.
100%. Yeah, it's not Bret raised the bar of that match.
Yeah, because Bret Hart is, we talk a lot about how Bret not great on the mic and all sorts of things, but technically excellent.
Yes.
And he will wrestle the hell out of any match. He'll wrestle a paper bag and we'll say, oh, Bret was good in it.
Yeah.
So how would you rate this one? Again, even when WCW is down, like I didn't think this was a particularly great WCW, but Raw is just so bad by comparison. It's kind of it's silly for me to even ask you who won, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Who won, Joseph?
I actually really thought that Nitro was quite entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't their best episode, but I did enjoy a lot of the shenanigans going on. Raw was fucking dog shit, like the whole way through. So yeah, obviously Nitro wins this week.
I guess my issue with Nitro is we get these kind of jobber weeks where it seems like every match or almost every match is some jobber who I've never heard of. It doesn't mean anything. It's not significant. It's not important. I know who's going to win. So that's really my issue with Nitro. I mean, again, they're doing 2 hours, so they only have so many people on their roster, so they got to go in and bring in some jobbers sometimes. I get it. But there have been several weeks the last couple of weeks where like 90%, 80% are just jobber matches. This one's a little bit better because we had the Eddie Guerrero Chris Benoit match. We had the Steven Regal, Dean Malenko match. But other than that, I mean, yeah, Jeff Jarrett, Rick Steiner, but that was really just a vehicle for Hulk Hogan to come out again. The Bubba Rogers versus Conan match. Yeah, that was fine. Again, but it was just a vehicle for the Is Nick Patrick with the NWO. But other than that, you got Tombstone. We like Mr. JL, but he's a jobber. Let's just be real. Right. Buddy Lee Parker, the Leprechaun, apparently, which I had legitimately completely forgotten the Leprechaun existed. That was a trauma that I blocked out.
The reason I remember it so well is because it was at those really fun episodes when they were at, was it Walt Disney World?
Yes, we loved that.
And I remember watching him run around. Like I can vividly remember him running around the ring at those episodes and being like, what the fuck are they doing?
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. Yes, we were just like, what? But yeah, it's just WCW at its worst. I'm not even saying this is its worst, but not the best is still better than WWF. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, minus Hunter Hearst Helmsley, again, their best match of the night was their first match. And I guess, Bret Hart has ticket selling power, but he's going against Fake Razor Ramon. Come on.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, that's a big lump of coal in my stocking. It was, it's just not good, but we're going to keep doing it because we found a way, even though that Netflix and Reed Hastings, go to hell, Reed Hastings. I'm going to say it every episode now.
Oh, but they're not going to sue us? Okay.
I'll look into that.
Go to hell allegedly. We'll do that.
Yeah,
for now.
yeah. But they're trying to make it so. Not apparently, Reed Hastings not a big fan of the pod. He's like, I never want them to be able to do a show again. We're not going to put Legacy, Raw, and Nitro on Netflix when it switches over from Peacock. But my friends, we found a way. We found somewhere which we will not name, so Reed Hastings can't get his fingers into it. But we found them all. We're going to keep going. So we'll see you in the new year because do we have another show? We got another show, so we'll see you one more time before the new year. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.